Whether it's the boots, the kits, or the footballs, it feels like Adidas have got everything right in 2024. Well, almost everything. In this video, I'll be revealing the top secret formula on how they regained their top spot in the football boot market. First, to do this, we must understand what Adidas is as a brand and what they represent. Specifically within football, Adidas have prided themselves as a brand that make innovative products while still being stylish and paying respect to tradition. This can be seen in their kit designs, it can also be seen in the remakes that they've done over the years, as well as the fact that they've been selling the Copa Mundial pretty much almost unchanged for almost 50 years now. And this respect for the past is why they've been so successful this year. Some may call it,
this is football heritage.
But why this year? Adidas have always pretty much been like this, but why is it this year they've taken such strides forward? And after doing months of research, I think I've discovered it. Bringing back the F50, reintroducing the folding tongue, the Adidas Originals collections, and just the kit template for this season's kits. All these things contribute, but the core of them is the marketing behind all of them. Adidas have been using a marketing secret formula to win over football fans in 2024. These are storytelling, player endorsement, product placement, and the secret ingredient, nostalgia. With these things, Adidas have been able to create a strong emotional bond between football fans and their products to make their products seem more desirable. So let's first of all talk about the Adidas Predator. This year, a lot of people have been shouting that the Predator is back. Well, it is and it isn't. It isn't in the fact that the Adidas Predator has been in stores since 2018 again. But it is in the fact that this is the first time the Adidas Predator has a folding tongue option for the first time since the Power Swerve. And let's be frank, like Lampard, the only reason why this Predator model is so popular is because of this little flappy material with a elastic strap. But the beauty of it is that folding tongue is so much a part of the Predator brand. So let me put it into context. So take for example that classic Coca-Cola can is very recognizable for its red color and the iconic font of the logo. However, if you modify the look, make the can say, I don't know, yellow, and you change the font of the lettering, it now becomes unrecognizable even though it's the same product inside the can. So in short, looks matter. Because with the Predator, people expect a boot with like rubber striking elements and a folding tongue. This is because they associate with iconic players and iconic moments. The minute you start meddling with like key elements of design, such as the folding tongue, like removing it, for example, it now, becomes a bit more unrecognizable and people start to dissociate with it. And the Predator with a folding tongue is what a lot of people grew up with. So Adidas bringing back the folding tongue option, as well as having your, that kind of, regular laced version without the folding tongue and a laceless version. You kind of like get a blend of different generations, so you have like an option for the Predator for everyone essentially. Now what made bringing back the folding tongue even better was the promo along with the boots. And this goes back to the nostalgia factor. Adidas really honed in what really made the Predator a household name by bringing back a lot of iconic players who wore the boot during their playing days. So the likes of Zidane, Beckham, Gerrard, Lampard, Xavi, Raul, Rui Costa, Kaká, the list goes on. By using former players to promote a new boot, it gives this nostalgic feel to a modern boot. And to parallel this, you also have a host of young players wearing this nostalgic looking boot as well, the likes of Jude Bellingham, Trent Alexander-Arnold, for example. Now mixing this kind of old players with younger players is now also doing something I feel a lot of brands are struggling with, which is that kind of transitioning of this new generation of footballers. Because let's be honest, there's not too many superstars and people are still stuck in that 2010s era, the eras of like your Cristiano Ronaldos and your Messis. But Adidas have actually handled this in a very authentic and natural feeling way through the promos. You've seen the likes of Zinedine Zidane doing stuff with Jude Bellingham. And on top of that, they've been using the likes of Bellingham and trying to kind of establish themselves as the key faces of the boot. Again, here comes more of the kind of narrative and storytelling from the marketing when it comes to both these players. With Jude, you had that initial Predator advert where he seems to be almost kind of chosen one figure. And I think this was also exemplified with his kind of pre-Euro advert with the Hey Jude, as well as some of the social media posts whenever England did well, for example when he scored that bicycle kick. By doing this, Adidas bring more attention to Jude as well as the Adidas Predator. And then there was the ad when Adidas announced that Trent had signed with them. It was more he used to wear them when he was in his youth and now he's wearing them as a seasoned professional, and it's more like this kind of prodigal son kind of story. And of course, both these players got signature colorways as well. And to complement some of the releases of some of the Predator colorways this year, Adidas have also released remakes of some of the more iconic Predator models of like yesteryear. And again, it kind of just complements this whole like nostalgic feel along with this kind of modern feel to the boots as well. Now, the other boot we have to talk about is the Adidas F50. In the case of the F50, it's somewhat similar to the Predator. As we've already established, names and looks are very important when you're kind of selling a product or a brand. And bringing back the F50 name to Adidas' speed boot line is just another piece of football heritage. And I think the reason why this one almost seems very seamless and accepting is that the fact that although the X line was, in my opinion, quite good overall, it always had a bit of like F50 DNA, you could say, and most of the prominent wearers of the X line wore the F50 prior. And to be honest, if you put a X instead of an F50 on this current model, it wouldn't look out of place with the other X's. Then, like with the Predator, we've seen this kind of passing of the torch kind of trope in the marketing as well. The launch ad for the F50 featured, of course, Lionel Messi along with some like up-and-coming players, or like, I don't know if you can call Leao up-and-coming, but yeah, he was there, Trinity Rodman, and of course, Lamine Yamal, who we'll get onto a bit more later. And I was lucky enough to even attend the launch event in London, and they had like previous F50 wearers come up on stage and talk about the boot. So this was Alessandro Del Piero and Djibril Cissé, who's actually a DJ now apparently. Some youth players as well who will be wearing the boot, I guess, in youth games, and these are like up and coming players who've not even made like their professional debuts yet. These are like likes of like Max Dowman and Rio Ngoma as well. Now, something very special Adidas have done with this model of 50 is that they've released a specific model just for Messi, featuring some of his bespoke customizations. Now, if you're a boot nerd like myself, you've known that he gets all these kind of crazy customizations to boots you've known for years basically. Now, this doesn't seem like a big deal to probably a lot of people, but you know, Adidas have been quite hush-hush about player customizations until quite recently. So the fact that Adidas are like releasing a specific version of the F50 that is specific to Messi, you know, it becomes like a fan like myself is closer to Messi because my boots are more similar to his than previously, I guess. Oh, you get my point there, just a bit extra special. And along with the special line of Messi F50, there's also established the Messi 10 Plus team. And all it is, it's like, first of all, they did an ad where Messi is just naming specific young players who elected to wear his specific colorways. Now, if you're just watching the ad at face value, it seems like Messi has specifically chosen those players, which of course he did not. These are players that Adidas feel are going to be like some of the next up-and-coming stars, so, you know, want to put more marketing attention on them. And again, it goes back to that thing of like, it just feels like the passing of the torch. So Messi himself, the GOAT in many people's eyes, is now giving the torch to like some of the most up-and-coming players, one of them being Lamine Yamal. Now, Yamal was signed by Adidas quite recently, I'd say. They took him from Nike and they've made him pretty much one of the faces of the F50, and this gamble has paid off like immensely. There was a lot of narrative and story building during the Euros because of like his just stellar performances, namely against France, where Rabiot came out and said what he said about him, for him to then go and do what he did. You know, it's just like very poetic. And of course, in like recent weeks, we've now seen that he's got his first ever signature colorway. But it's clear to see that for the future, Adidas are going to be putting all like their chips on Yamal, and hopefully he stays injury free, because I think, you know, he's going to reap the rewards, and Adidas will as well. Because in the next few years, Messi will retire, so Adidas will look for a new face for the brand of the F50, and they've literally already got one, and he's 17, so who knows, for another 17 years he's gonna be the face of the boot. However, not everything is honky-dory. Adidas have done a lot of great work in 2024, but I do have a few concerns. First of all being that they're releasing way too many colorways. By the time this video is uploaded, they've probably like revealed another like 5. And of course, you don't have to like buy every single release. But for me, what makes a boot special and more recognizable is when you give players like more time to like wear the boot for a while, kind of build a story within the boots, a kind of legacy within the boots as well. But when you're constantly chopping and changing new boots, and you're seeing players switch new boots every single game, I don't know, it seems a little more kind of like, I don't know, it's just like, it's fast fashion essentially. You don't really pay too much attention to it because you just like lose interest eventually. And my other only concern is this kind of when this nostalgia bubble bursts. Now, it's not just specific to Adidas or just football in general, but I feel like in other industries like music or fashion, we are seeing this kind of renaissance of like nostalgia, Y2K fashion, like specifically at this moment in time. And I think, you know, eventually people just want something new rather than always going back to like old stuff. So will it be a case where the novelty of like the folding tongue just wears off, so people aren't just too excited about it anymore? It just comes like an option that is there. Same with the F50, that yeah, it's back, but like no one's really too excited. Oh, the F50 is back, but like it's just there. It's like a main thing now. So I guess it's a more recognizable name than the X for a lot of people, but eventually like the excitement around the boot just goes like, you know, it flatlines almost. However, what I will say though is, especially with the Predator, I think the Predator is one of very few boots where like you see them reuse the same colorways over and over again, and like it's just like a normal thing for the Predator. For example, for every single iteration of the Predator, you're gonna get that classic black, white and red. Sometimes they use pink or some kind of like solar red, but you're going to get some kind of variation of that boot no matter the Predator model. But I'm sure Adidas have probably like got like all sorts of plans ahead, so maybe just me talking rubbish here. So in conclusion, the reason why we saw Adidas raise back to the summit of the football boot world again was because of their ability to market themselves to emotionally connect with fans in a very authentic and nostalgic way. By bringing back the folding tongue to the Predator and bringing back the F50 line, fans were able to connect with the brand again, as those looks and names have a legacy that has just been built over many decades. And the emotional connection of football fans to the things like the Predator and the F50 was further enhanced through Adidas' creative use of like nostalgia in their storytelling and their marketing, as well as finding a very authentic way to market the next generation of up-and-coming footballers so they're in the minds and hearts of young fans. If you like more video essays like this, please subscribe to the channel and like the video, and while you're here, check out more of my videos.